Shalom to Attorney Marc, Zell, Chairman of Republicans Overseas Israel.
Shalom, Yoni. How you doing?
Fine. So tell me, please, how do you see the shift? You know, at the beginning, we felt 100% support from the U.S., from Biden, and now we're mainly hearing about pressures and demands.
Well, listen, those of us who understand what's going on with the Biden administration said very early on that Joe Biden and all of his strong support for Israel, that may have been his personal view, but the people that run Joe Biden, that is the Obama folks that run the White House, and Obama himself in his basement near Washington or wherever he happens to be, has a different view about Israel. They were never friendly with Israel. You remember the Obama administration. And so when the Americans expressed shock after October 7th, that was something we understood. But remember what they said. They said, we will do what is necessary to let Israel defend herself. Okay, we have her back. There were statements like that. What they didn't say, Yoni, at the time was, we support Israel's war objectives to go in, smash Hamas, take them out for all time, return the hostages, and then make Gaza a place with which Israel can live in peace in the future. That is not what the Americans ever said. They opposed the ground operation in October from the very beginning. They opposed Israel's objections to sending humanitarian aid or limiting humanitarian aid to Gaza. And they have pushed on pressure now and insisting that whatever happens after the war includes, incredibly, the establishment of a Palestinian state with the very people who committed the atrocities on October 7th.
How do you explain that? How do you understand this, that the result of October 7th may be a Palestinian state?
How do I explain it's about a Palestinian state? Because that has been the policy of the Democratic Party and the progressives for years. That's what they believe in. That's what they're trying to accomplish. It has a domestic political angle as well, because the Democrats need the state of Michigan. It's one of the 6 or 7 swing states for the presidential election in November. They need Michigan terribly. They won it in 2020. They lost it in 2016. And if they don't take it in 2024, there's a very good chance they won't be able to keep the White House or the Congress. So they are doing whatever they can to persuade Michigan. And who do they need to persuade in Michigan? The thousands and thousands of Arab Americans, many of whom are Palestinians, who live in Michigan and who in the primary election that was just held 2 days ago on Tuesday in Michigan, 16% of the Democrats who voted in the primaries voted uncommitted. That is, they didn't support Biden because of this. So they are eager to persuade Michiganders and the Arabs who live there to vote their way. This is one of the ways they do it.
And I believe that for you, it's obvious who's better for Israel in the White House.
Yeah, I think it's obvious. I think first of all, everybody in Israel knows who's the best for Israel, and that's the Republican Party. That's been the case for the past decade or more, okay? And the Trump administration, we know, we have, as we say in Hebrew, they have all the kabbalot. We have all the receipts for that. The embassy going to Jerusalem, the recognition of Israeli sovereignty in the Golan Heights, the breaking off of the Iran nuclear deal, the support for Israel strategically and diplomatically, the cutting off of aid to the Palestinians and to UNRWA and everything else. This is what happened in the Trump administration. When the Democrats came in, literally the next day they changed all of that. When October 7th came in, there was a big slap in the face for them. They had to react to the realities, the horrors of October 7th, but they never really gave up on their underlying goals, which is not necessarily in Israel's interest. A Palestinian state, we all know here, is something that's completely out of the question at the moment. And the idea of allowing Hamas to come back and to reestablish itself in Gaza is, every Israeli practically you talk to would understand how stupid that is. But that is the American position.
Are we sure that Trump is truly against the Palestinian state and truly will support Jewish settlements in Judea and Samaria?
Well, first of all, you ever heard of the Pompeo Doctrine? Okay, that was the Secretary of State during the Trump administration who specifically said that the Jews have every right to live and settle and prosper in Judea and Samaria. That was the policy of the Trump administration. That will be the policy of the Trump administration if he gets reelected in November. And I can tell you, you can have my word on it. I'll eat my hat, or something else even worse, if that does not happen to be the case.
So last but not least, should Israel confront Washington these days?
Well, first of all, Israel and the Prime Minister of Israel understands what it means to deal with the United States. He's a master at international diplomacy. But here's what Israel needs to do. Israel needs to stay the course. It needs to carry out and follow what are in its strategic interests. Finish Hamas completely. Not let any kind of terror infrastructure come back after the war. Get the hostages back home. That is Israel. That's what Israel needs to do, and it needs to stay in that direction. Not listen to the Americans. Not succumb to international pressure. Do what's right for Israel. That's what it has to do.
Attorney Marc Zell, Chairman of Republicans Overseas Israel, thank you very much.
Yoni, it's always a pleasure. Have a great weekend. Bye.